Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Mike Chase here, back with our yearly sort of what team should you use for your Madden 24 franchise. We do these videos every year, about a month or so before we get the release of Madden 24, and we're pretty much about a month out from the game. I think a little under a month now, actually. Might be like 29-ish, 28-ish days now from Madden 24. I'm pretty hyped up for it, actually. They made a lot of big franchise mode improvements, a lot of things we've been asking for, but now it's time to get into what teams I think you should use, maybe for your Madden 24 franchise. So let's get into this one. Number 6 on our list. It's going to be the Los Angeles Rams. That's right, the Rams. The Los Angeles Rams are coming off a disappointing 2022-2023 season. Matthew Stafford is 35, and despite the changes in progression and regression EA's made in Madden 24, Stafford will likely begin to decline after his first season. He's not coming in with a very high rating. You'll have 99 overall Aaron Donald on this team. You can keep him around, or you can risk him sort of retiring on you. Or, which is what I would do, I would trade him for a bunch of picks, honestly. I would try to get maybe a first-round pick or two. It's really your choice on what you want to do with him. But I think maybe trading him that first year would be the right move here. Another player that's a bit older and is a pretty interesting trade piece. You might not think it. Cooper Kupp. He's 30. Actually, so this will be another player in the Rams that will probably begin to regress after that first season. You got to remember this sort of stuff. These guys are going to begin regressing almost right away, so that's something you have to think about. And let's also mention another older player. That's Stetson Bennett. All right, fine. Get that old man joke out of the way. He's not really that old. Well, I mean, I guess relatively old, but Stetson Bennett might be the most notable Rams draft pick, but you do have a decent future at guard, I think, with Steve Avila. He's going to come in at a 71 overall, actually, so I would definitely say make sure to start him, make him one of your sort of focus players in, sort of the midweek training, things like that. Try to get that overall up. And it does sound like there's ways for these guys, guards, offensive linemen, to get dev trade upgrades, so you might want to focus on that with him. Your future draft capital, well, the Rams currently hold their own first-round pick in 2024. You're probably going to want to keep this pick. It should be a good one. This would actually mark the first time the Rams have had their first-round pick since they took Jared Goff, number 1 overall, 2016. So they also have their own second-round pick, so you have some picks here. You can potentially stack on a bit more with some trades, and I think really start to rebuild this team up back into a Super Bowl contender. The Rams really aren't expected to compete for a playoff slot in 2023, even with a healthy Matthew Stafford. I think this is a prime tanking team in Madden 24. I don't talk too much about this here, but if you are going to use a sort of actual draft class with Caleb Williams, Drake May, maybe even Quinn Ewers, depending on how he develops, how he shows out and plays, I think this is a team that is definitely going to be in the market for a quarterback with a first-round pick that they have, or maybe a future first-round pick they trade for. Who knows? So Rams coming in at number 6. And coming in at number 5 for us is we're gonna say in the NFC West here. It's going to be the Arizona Cardinals. That's right. The Cardinals come in at number 5. We stay in the NFC West for this one. The Cardinals, we already know they had a disastrous season last year, and it's looking like this season will be really any different. If you choose to play with pre-existing injuries on, you'll be without Kyler Murray probably most of the season. That means your quarterback for most of the season is likely either going to be Colt McCoy, and if that doesn't go well, you can maybe play Clayton Tune. I'm sure Cam Newton might still be in the free agent pool, so you can maybe sign him. I'm not thinking of too many sort of free agent quarterbacks that are out there that you will be able to really, I think, get to work with that'll, sort of fill that gap that Kyler will leave. Fun, I know. Depending on if you use a custom draft class or not, you could have your first year basically be a throwaway year. Trade away Kyler Murray for a bunch of picks, build around Caleb or Drake May. Or you could trade the pick for a big draft haul, or just pick maybe the best player available and try to continue on with Kyler Murray if you're a big Kyler Murray guy. I think, you can be a big Kyler Murray guy even though Kyler Murray isn't a big guy. All right, I'm done with the height jokes. If you don't plan on playing with pre-existing injuries, you'll have Kyler Murray ready to go. Good young quarterback, I think. I think a little underrated now at this point, somewhat. I think some people have gone a little too far with the Kyler slander. I thought there was times last year he played pretty well. So you'll have Kyler Murray, and then you'll have some pretty good skill position guys in Marquise Brown, Rondell Moore. I think that's a good tandem. Trey McBride, I think, showed some promise his rookie year at tight end. You got second round pick this past year, Michael Wilson. I think he could actually develop pretty nicely as that sort of jump ball guy, go up, attack the point of the catch, come down with the football. I think defense is where no matter what your plan at quarterback is, sort of ends up being, you should probably focus on trying to rebuild. The Cardinals had the worst passing defense in the NFL last year. Last year, the Cardinals allowed the second highest average quarterback rating at 98.3, the second most passing touchdowns at 29, and the highest completion rate of 69.8. So that's secondary. Probably your pass rush. Those are things that you're going to want to improve on for this Cardinals team as you look to rebuild the squad in Madden 24. Number 4 on this list is going to be the Indianapolis Colts. I think in one of my videos I did last year for this, the Colts actually showed up number 4. I'm not sure if it was the first franchise team you should pick video or the second one, but they were number 4. They slotted in here again. And the Colts, and this is a team, like I said, I ranked them similarly last year, but for a lot of different reasons this year, they come in at number 4. This could be a lot of fun, really, because of the quarterback position. The Colts have finally given up on retreads and washed up vets, and they actually drafted a quarterback, and I think this guy is just super special. Anthony Richardson might be the most physically gifted quarterback to ever be drafted, but despite his high physical traits, he has an extremely high ceiling for sure. One of the biggest knocks on Richardson was his accuracy numbers during his lone starting season at Florida. In his first season, and his only season as a starter at Florida, he posted a 53.8% completion percentage. So his accuracy ratings aren't going to be that good coming out the gate in Madden 24. If I'm correct, he is a 70 overall, actually. But I think that'll make the climb with him a lot more fun as you sort of build him up. And so that's why I think the Colts coming in at number 4. Not too much to say. I really think the main thing to focus on here is just Anthony Richardson. Gonna have to rebuild, I think, that receiving core a bit. I think you got Jonathan Taylor. He'll always be fun to play with. A super high rated running back. Can catch. Kind of your bell cow worker. You should have some okay pieces on that offensive line with Quentin Nelson. So I think there's some positives here with this team, but it's really the quarterback. You're going to want to make sure that Anthony Richardson, you want to give him a really good rookie year to really get those sort of accuracy numbers up. That's where you're going to want to focus your time with him, I think. He already has the great speed and things like that. It's the accuracy that you're going to want to get high, because I almost promise it'll probably be somewhat frustrating that first season with him. Probably will miss some pretty easy throws, things like that. So that's something you want to focus on, I think, for Anthony Richardson in your first few years with the Colts in Madden 24 franchise mode. So, number 3, who is number 3 on our list? That is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. They're going to come in at number 3. The Raiders finally moved on from Derek Carr. Maybe they found their next guy in Jimmy G. I don't really buy Jimmy G being the long-term solution here in Vegas. He's already a bit older, so there's probably not a lot of ways for him to get that dev trait rating up and really hit his stride progression-wise. What Jimmy G is what, see what you get with Jimmy G in terms of Madden 24. He's probably going to start regressing right away. The defense, awful. The Raiders have one of the worst secondaries in the NFL. The linebacking core probably needs to be, it needs to be rebuilt. So those are some things that you're going to have to focus on with this team. You have some good edge rushers, though. You got Max Crosby, you got Chandler Jones, first-round pick Tyree Wilson. Chandler Jones is aging, so that might be a guy that you might want to trade. He's not going to get any better. He's basically at how good he's going to be in that first year. You also have Devontae Adams. He's great. Also, he's 30. Gonna probably start regressing. This is as good as he's gonna get. You're probably not gonna get his ratings any higher. That also, I know that might sound crazy. That might be a guy you might want to look at trading. EA said they did redo progression and regression, so you might hold on to his ratings a bit better. But it's probably gonna be a sort of race against the clock, sort of on those ratings. If you can sort of get those upgrades for him, keep him, as good as he is now before the regression of things really starts to hit, in season 2 and season 3, things like that. So that's something you might have to look for, and you might not have time really with Devontae if you probably eventually draft a quarterback. That's what you're probably gonna have to do here in Las Vegas. I almost said Oakland. You're gonna have to definitely draft a quarterback of the future. You're gonna need one. Everyone thought they were probably gonna take a quarterback, and they didn't. So that's kind of an interesting thing here with this Raiders team. You got Jimmy G. I would say injury would be a concern with Jimmy G, but once again, quarterbacks don't really get injured that often in Madden anymore. I haven't had it happen in a few years. So, yeah. Jimmy G should probably stay healthy and play all 17 games, even though in real life he probably will get nicked up for a game or two. It's what happens to Jimmy G, so there's that. But we'll also talk here, Michael Mayer. I think that's a real bright spot here. This is a really interesting pick. More interesting than Tyree Wilson. I know that might sound weird. Tyree Wilson was picked number 7 overall. Michael Mayer was picked in the 2nd round, but a lot of people thought Michael Mayer was going to be that first tight end off the board. He wasn't. He didn't even go in the 1st round. He went in the 2nd round. He'll come in at a 75 overall in Madden 24, which is pretty good actually, and there's a good chance he might have a decent dev trait as well. I would probably say at minimum, and I think he will. I think at minimum he'll definitely have star. I don't know he'll have normal. I could be wrong on that, but you know, if he's at star, you definitely want to feed him the ball, try to get him up to superstar to sort of get that development rolling for him and Madden 24 franchise. So that's why I think the Raiders would be a good franchise team for you. They come in at number 3. And number 2 on this list is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They come in at number 2. The Buccaneers are just 3 years removed from winning the Super Bowl, but Tom Brady has finally, as of this recording, as far as I know, has retired. So who's in at quarterback? What's this quarterback room looking like? Well, it's Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask, and John Wolford. Amazing. In real life, Baker might be able to rebuild his career. He's still only 28 years old, but this is Madden. So unless you really have a great season with him, he's probably not going to be getting too many dev trait upgrades at his age, and he'll probably begin regressing at least by the 3rd season. So you're likely to be drafting for the future at that quarterback position. You have Mike Evans, but he's 30. He'll be 30 by the time the season starts, so he'll also probably begin to regression. This is the main thing I'm kind of focusing on here, regression. You have to start looking at these guys' age because you're going to be building this team for multiple seasons. So you have to keep those things in mind. So that'll be another hole you're going to have to be prepared to fill when that time comes, I think, especially at receiver. The offensive line, I think, is pretty good here. You got Tristan Wirfs. He's a stud. He's great. Everything else, well, you got some guys who are kind of aging here. You got Ryan Jensen, one of the better centers in the NFL, but he's 32. He'll be coming to Madden 24 with an 87 overall. Doubt that'll get any higher. And again, might be another guy that regresses. Usually offensive linemen kind of don't get... Previous Maddens did not get hit with regression that hard. So those guys just kind of stayed fine for years. Maybe that's a little bit different at Madden 24. Cody Mauch. There's a lot of potential. That's a guy you're definitely going to start his rookie year. Get him snaps, get him XP. He'll be coming in at a 70 overall. Now, defensively, this is where this team really shined when they won that Super Bowl. They won that Super Bowl with defense. They shut down the Chiefs. I know a lot of people want to just say, hey, Tom Brady was great. And yeah, he was good that year. It was great that year, but it was the defense of that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that won that Super Bowl. And, once again, they started to age. They lost a few pieces here and there, and age have somewhat caught up to this squad. You got decent defensive backs. You got Jamal Dean. You got Carlton Davis. You got Antoine Winfield Jr. Kind of a bit of a drop-off after that. So you're going to have to build up this secondary again, I think. First-round pick, Kalijah Cansey, will be a part of that sort of rebuild up of the defensive line. But that edge position is really where this team is going to need some work. Shaq Barrett, he's 30. 80 overall coming into Madden 24. That's probably not going to get any better. The only other edge threat on this team is Joe Tryon, and you may want to get the 3rd round pick Yaya Diaby. Snaps that first season instead, just for the XP to build him up. Maybe try to get him a dev, kind of one of those dev trait scenarios where you can really kind of supercharge his development early on in his career. But the Buccaneers are going to come in at number 2 here on this list, and now it's going to be the number 1 team. Who is it? Let's see. Coming up after this. So who is number 1? Who is the number 1 team I think that would be a lot of fun to build up in Madden 24 franchise? Well, it's going to be my favorite team, the Green Bay Packers. That's right, number one here. The Green Bay Packers coming at number one on my list this year. This has been a really interesting team, and I really think it's because, I don't know if you've heard this by now, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news or not, Aaron Rodgers is no longer the Packers starting quarterback. That's right, the team has been turned over to Jordan Love finally. In real life, he's kind of an unknown commodity, but Madden, he'll likely be one of the lower rated starters in Madden 24. He ended Madden 23 with a 67 overall. Somehow for Madden 24, that got bumped up to a 70 overall over guys like Sam Howell, who actually started games last year and actually looked good, but Sam Howell comes, I believe, at a 66. Jordan Love is going to end up at a 70. So that'll be his rating. A 70 overall. Not too bad, actually. Kind of in line with like a current first round pick coming into this year with all those guys that are kind of in that 70 range. That's where they end up. So that's where Jordan Love is. The receiving core was such a big sticking point, has really started to find, I think, some of that new blood, and they've really started to replace talent on this team. Finally, unironically enough, after Rodgers has left. So kind of weird there. Can't tell if that's a middle finger by the front office to Rodgers, like, haha, look at this. Now we're going to build up this receiving room after you're gone. So, I don't know, that's kind of what it feels like to me. But let's get into this. Christian Watson, an amazing rookie season, I think. If he would have played, 16, 17 games, I think there's a chance that he would have probably won Offensive Rookie of the Year. There's a good chance the Packers would have made the playoffs last year if this guy could have stayed healthy. And that's going to be the real issue with Christian Watson moving forward. Can he stay healthy? In real life, that frame and that speed of his, it's great. It's a gift, but it's also a curse where I think there's just times where he's going to take just some heavy hits and he's going to get hurt. I really don't know if this is going to be a guy that plays 15, 16, 17 games a year. This might be a guy that plays 12 to 13 and is always going to miss 3 to 4 games. You can pencil in him missing games. And Madden will have to see how that sort of plays out. You have Romeo Doubs, who I think showed a lot of flashes that he could be that solid number 2 option. They also then added, in this past year's draft, Jaden Reed. In the second and third round, the Packers added to their tight end room with Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. They'll probably both be in their mid-60s, but I think there's a lot of potential with them, a lot of athletic potential. Offensive line. I think this is a pretty decent... This is a good part of the Packers team. I think if you look at their where would you say their best strength is, it's probably their offensive line. Elton Jenkins, he's locked in for a few years. He's not going anywhere. Zach Tom showed a lot of potential last year. This guy that can move all over, but looked pretty good at tackle. John Runyon Jr., really good player. He's going to come in at a 77 overall, so that's going to be a really good guard for you. David Bakhtiari is still good. He's at a 90 overall, but he's 31 years old, and he also has one of the lowest injury. He actually has the lowest injury rating on the team among active starters. His injury rate's coming in at 82. So he's a guy you might want to trade, eat the cap hit your first year, get some draft capital for 2024. That's something you're going to want to do. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you got Jair Alexander, stud, I believe signed an extension. He's locked in, one of the highest rated corners in Madden 24. The safety position is going to need some work. Darnell Savage has really disappointed since he's been drafted. Hasn't really shown that sort of savage instinct that you think a safety with that name would show. It's a guy that's kind of not a great tackler, not a big playmaker. So you're going to want to do some work there at safety. And he'll be a free agent after this season, so it's not a guy that you can rely on having, I think, long term. Rashawn Gary has been really good these past 2 years. He's coming off an ACL injury and will be due a contract extension. So if you're playing with pre-existing injuries on, you'll probably be missing Rashawn Gary for a part of the season. If not, then you'll have him all of the season. And I think it'll probably be a pretty easy decision to get him to that contract extension. Lucas Van Ness was the first round selection. Shocker, it was a defensive player. Edge rusher, really good athleticism, somewhat similar to Rashawn Gary, honestly, coming when he came out of Michigan. Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa, great athleticism. It'll be interesting to see how they're able to mold him into a player moving forward. He's a 73 overall. My guess is Preston Smith will be ahead of him on the depth chart. You might want to just trade Preston Smith and start Van Ness, get that XP that first season. So I think getting him a lot of playing time will be key to get his dev trait and stats up. So there's that. Other guys on the defense, another guy I want to highlight on the defense is Eric Stokes. He has unbelievable speed. I still think he has a lot of potential in Madden. Once again, in Madden, speed is king. So I think he'd be a big contributor with that 95 speed. And he might kind of be one of those stealth guys like in Madden that's just like a beast. He's just a beast in Madden, not necessarily a beast in real life. In real life, I think he's kind of... I don't really know if he's going to be that good in real life, but this is Madden. And I think in Madden, that 95 speed is just going to matter a lot. I think having that speed is going to be just big. Good acceleration, too. I believe he's coming in like kind of like a 74, 77 overall. It's kind of somewhere in that range. So you have that to look forward to. So there it is, guys. That's my list on the teams I think you should consider for your Madden 24 franchise. Now, were any of these teams... maybe my Madden 24 team kind of hiding in plain sight here? Probably not. I do have an idea of my Madden 24 team. We're going to stay in the NFC is most likely. So that's the only hint I'm going to give you right there. But I think you'll have to stay tuned for my Madden 24 franchise team. I think we are getting pretty close to getting to reveal that. I think I want to reveal it kind of pretty close to when the game comes out, actually. So I think we'll do that. So with that, I'm going to end this video. Before I end it, I'd like to say, please hit that like button. That helps the channel a lot. Be sure to subscribe for Madden 24 stuff. We got, you know, we're literally, you know, this week, so we're like 3 weeks away, really, from this game being in our hands, honestly. So I'm excited for Madden 24. I hope you are too. So be sure to hit like, be sure to hit subscribe. Thank you for watching today's video. And be sure to take it easy and have a good one. Peace.